Yo, what's good everyone? Coach D here with the Shift Method. Hope you're having a great day. Got another training video for y'all. I'm gonna give you my top 3 exercises to help really build your traps. So let's go ahead and jump right into it. As always, if you enjoy this video, please be sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Okay, so today we're gonna be talking about your traps, or your trapezius as they're more so known as in the scientific sense. So this is a very large superficial muscle, and I'm actually gonna have a little graphic up here for you to see where we can kind of go into more detail about the anatomy of this muscle. So the traps, a lot of times people often think is just these upper portion of your traps that you see on the top of your shoulders. But really, as you can see here, it's a very large muscle, right? Where it's attaching at the base of your skull, going all the way down through your thoracic vertebrae, going down to T12. And then it also goes out towards your collarbone and your shoulder blade. So it has a lot of action on your scapula, and it covers about half or more of your back. Now, because of this, and how like the fibers originate on the traps, where you have fibers that ascend, go towards the middle, and descend, we have a lot of different actions of the traps. Instead of just doing shoulder shrugs, which is one action, we have a lot more going on than just that. Now, the traps have a lot of functions, like I mentioned, even function at the head and the neck, but we're gonna talk about the main ones here that we're gonna talk about in more of an exercise context. So the upper fibers of your traps, or the ones that go kind of towards the base of your head, up towards where your shoulder blades and collarbone are, known as your upper fibers, the main function of those are going to be elevation of your shoulder blades. This is the action of being able to shrug or raise your shoulders upward so that your shoulder blade can move up along your back. With the middle fibers, which you're gonna see here, the parts that are kind of in between the upper and lower fibers of the traps, their main responsibility is going to be shoulder blade retraction. So the ability to take your shoulder blades from a protracted position, or where they're far apart from each other, and then bring them together. Think about anytime you do some kind of row or some kind of pulling movement where your shoulder blades come together. This portion of your traps is also responsible for upward rotation as well. So the ability to get your arm overhead. Think about like in an overhead press or any kind of overhead based movement that allows your shoulder blade to move upward and rotate. So that way you have more space in your arm to get into that position. And then lastly, the descending or the lower fibers of your traps are responsible for shoulder blade depression. It's the ability to go from an elevated position to a depressed position where your shoulder blades come down on your back. Okay, so a lot of functions there. So again, we're gonna focus on some of the main things that the traps do to help best work them for hypertrophy sense, to get the most bang for your buck. So let's go ahead and jump into some exercises. All right, so our first exercise that we're gonna do is going to be a seated cable row. Really, any row variation is gonna be great for the traps. When I say row variation, I'm talking about a horizontal pull, meaning my arms are roughly parallel to the ground, and I'm able to pull something, whether it's a barbell, dumbbell, or in this case, a cable to me. That's gonna be best for working my traps. Now, the main movement we're focusing on here is scapular retraction, where I'm able to pull my shoulder blades together as I'm going through the movement. So let's go ahead and show you how to set it up. So the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make sure I got my attachment. Here I'm doing a close grip attachment. Anyone will work just fine here. Personally, for myself, I like the close grip attachment. I feel like I have good control. I can really retract my shoulder blades when I want to, so I'm gonna use that here. Next, make sure you got your weight set. Grab the handles, and then you're gonna extend your legs to where you have just a soft bend in the knee and have your chest relatively vertical. From here, I wanna make sure that I let my shoulder blades protract forward. A big thing that people do is they keep their shoulder blades pulled back the entire time, and this is good because you are working your traps, but now it's an isometric movement, right? I wanna be able to let my shoulders protract forward as much as I can, and then when I pull, retract. Right? Because those middle fibers are really responsible for shoulder retraction, shoulder blade retraction. And so I want to get them lengthened as much as possible and then pull them back as I come in. All right, the next exercise that's gonna primarily target the upper fibers of our traps is going to be the dumbbell shrug. Again, those upper fibers are responsible for elevating your shoulder blades, so the ability to actually shrug your shoulders and lift them up. So let me show you how I break it down. So I like to do the dumbbell shrug. You can of course do it with a barbell or sit machine, but I feel like the dumbbell gives me more control and more range of motion that I like to do for my shrug. So I primarily like to use a dumbbell for this exercise. So all you're gonna do, take your dumbbells, start with them right in front of you, kind of almost like in a diagonal fashion where you have them not directly to the front, not directly to the side, somewhere in between. You're gonna let your shoulder blades relax. So I'm gonna literally depress my shoulder blades, let them drop as much as possible, and then in one motion, I'm gonna bring them up, rotate a little bit out, and bring my shoulders up to my ears, and then control back down. And last but not least, again, for those middle fibers and a little bit of the lower ones, we have the cable face pull. Now again, this is a great exercise for purely retracting your shoulder blades, but I'm also gonna set it up to where I can also depress them a little bit because again, those lower fibers are primarily responsible for depressing or bringing those shoulder blades down along your back. So for this, I like to use a rope attachment. Again, it has a little bit more flexibility as opposed to like a standard attachment that is like solid and you can't move your arms too much. So I like the ability to have more freedom for when I really retract my shoulder blades and pull my arms back. In terms of the setup, I have the cable just a little bit higher than my head height, again, because I want to work on a little bit of depression as well, so bringing my shoulder blades down while I retract them. So I got my cable stack set up here. I'm going to do an underhand grip where my palms are facing each other, thumbs are up to the sky. Take a small step back. Again, I'm going to let my arms protract forward, right? It's almost like a rounding slightly of the upper back. I'm going to pull back, elbows high, pull my arms down. And again, I'm not super high up because I want to have a little bit of retraction, so my arms are a little bit downward so I get that depression as well. And that's it, everyone. I hope y'all enjoyed this video. If you did, please be sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Y'all know I got weekly videos and podcasts coming out for y'all, so be sure to check those out. I got daily content on the socials, which y'all can find right here. And as always, I'll see you in the next one. Later.